Hello, Ben here from Wolford Weekly, and I am back again to take a little look back at a past episode. And this time, we're celebrating Easter with an instant classic that aired in 2018 that I like to call Sharon's Last Supper. Sharon is basically trying to act as the perfect wife, mother and host throughout this episode, and as the episode goes on, we see the mask slowly slip more and more as she drinks more and more.
Nearly married him myself, you know.
Sharon.
Thanks for the heads up. You're welcome. Better late than never.
I think this episode was well received by the public because at the time, the show was going through a slight lull with John York stepping in as temporary executive producer. And when this episode aired, it came as such a surprise with some great one-liners, the electric catty scenes between Mel and Sharon, and of course a certain incident with a jug of cream that truly makes this episode stand out as something that will be remembered for years to come as a kind of hidden gem. So let's take a look back and see exactly why it was so great.
Stop it! Her family brought together for the celebration of the rebirth of our Lord and Saviour.
The episode begins with Sharon attempting to arrange the perfect Mitchell meal, and her best mate Michelle is just desperate to get her hands on a bottle of two in this drink-free Mitchell household.
It's a dry house.
Does he know about your little stash?
You want that slack? Oh.
And we're only about 30 seconds into the episode and Letitia Dean is already giving her campest performance to date. We've got Louise, who is desperate for Hunter's attention and affections. If only she knew what 2019 would bring.
Open the door.
And Sharon is just wanting the day to go as perfect as possible, so she invites Hunter over to join her for the lunch, just so she can show off and also get one over on Mel. When Mel mentions to Hunter that he should avoid the Mitchells at all costs, this is just one surefire way to get a teenage boy to do the exact opposite. And when Mel finds a note that says, "Gone to the library," she knows exactly where to head off to find him. I mean, come on, how often is a 16-year-old boy really going to go hang out at the library? Sharon is now single-handedly preparing the big Easter banquet, and Phil, as usual, is walking around being his miserable self, just wanting some crisps. Sharon, being the perfect wife that she is, has remembered to get everything he could ever wish for. But when all she gets back is a grunt as a reply, it doesn't take her long to think, screw this, and fill a mug up with wine. Michelle's going to be pleased since she's got her own bottle too. I just love seeing these two acting like schoolgirls, sneaking around, drinking wine and just having a laugh. It's something you so rarely see in soaps, that when you do see some sort of happiness, it kind of feels special. We've got Honey and Billy arriving now to sit around the table to fill the gaps and become witnesses to an epic Mitchell meal. And Sharon is trying her best to act sober. And once again, I want to point out just how truly great Letitia Dean is in this episode. You can see Sharon slowly getting hot flushes of drunkenness flash across her face. And Sharon has never been more relatable than she is in this episode. She's just trying to get through a family meal, one drink at a time. I think it's fair to say that we've all been there. For some reason, halfway through the episode, Michelle just kind of disappears by saying she needs some fresh air, and then she's not seen again for the rest of the meal. I can't really work out why they've written this in, seeing as having her own the meal and a reaction between Sharon and Mel fighting, it kind of would have added to this TV gold. Just as Michelle leaves, Sharon notices Mel has arrived to collect Hunter, and the drink has really hit Sharon now because she isn't having Mel ruin the day. And of course, Hunter's got to stay because he hasn't had his pudding.
Well, he hasn't had his pudding yet.
We'll get an ice cream. Let's go, please, Hunter.
But he's our guest. I never let a guest leave without their pudding.
Yeah, all right, Sharon.
I would really like it if Hunter could stay for pudding.
And I've got to give a shout out to the writers here, because seeing the line, "he hasn't had his pudding," on paper written over and over again, it's going to be a brave move because I don't think anyone could have predicted just how great the delivery of it would have been from Tish Dean. I actually laugh every single time I see these scenes. And believe me, I've seen them a lot.
I would really like it if Hunter could stay for pudding.
The man of the house, Phil, commands Mel to stay, and Sharon's face really does say it all here. Someone's in the doghouse. And when she demands that Phil helps her in the kitchen, she's just trying to save face in front of all her guests.
Phil, could you help me with the cream, please?
Billy and I can help you do that, Sharon, can't we?
Yeah.
Phil.
Because remember, Sharon's the perfect wife, host, and mother.
That's all she has to give you. One bat of her eyelashes and you bend over backwards.
Oh, do me a favour.
We have another soap trope broken in this episode, where normally if someone is arguing behind a closed door, that means no one else can hear. But with Sharon and Phil arguing about how much he fancies Mel, we get these great little moments where we see everyone sitting around the table awkwardly hearing the argument of Sharon slagging off Mel, only for her to show her face 2 minutes later with a smile like nothing has been said. Sharon is now drinking openly from a wine glass for all to see, and she's got zero fucks to give with letting Mel know exactly what she thinks about her, and telling the whole table her history with all the men that she's had.
We know about Steve. Oh, and then Dan. He was a wrong too, though, wasn't he?
Lucky your track record's so strong.
And also, accidentally of course, ends up spilling the truth about Phil's involvement with Steve's death.
I mean, it just seems odd calling him son when you're the one who killed his dad.
Of course, it's easy just to blame it on the drink.
She's drunk, mate. She don't know what she's saying.
And just to add to more fire, Sharon goes to throw cream over Mel after she has a few words to say about her. But because Sharon is so wasted, Mel's reactions are just that bit quicker, so she can turn the tables and throw that cream all over Sharon's chest. After Sharon has the world's fastest shower and all her guests have left as quickly as humanly possible, she is left with just Phil to greet her downstairs with a slow clap for his drunk tart of a wife, who, as Mel would say, would go home with anyone who bought her a bag of crisps.
When you'd go home with anyone who bought you a bag of crisps back then.
And this ends another world famous Mitchell meal, and I truly believe it's to be one of the best ever. You have a great mix of characters reacting to the situation. Sharon was on top form, getting drunker and mouthier as the day goes on, and you have that bombshell reveal of Phil being involved with Hunter's dad's death nearly 15 years ago. The only negative point I can really find in this is that Michelle leaves for no real reason through the episode, and I feel that we were possibly robbed of a few great one-lines there during the argument between Mel and Sharon, but all in all, I really can't complain. This will be an episode I will always go back to look on in years to come whenever I need cheering up. And really, that's all I can ask from a soap.
I wouldn't have said it was a classic all-time Mitchell dinner, but it was strong. It was very strong.
So let me know what you thought of this episode when it aired, and also give a comment below of any fun episodes that you remember that I could look back on in future videos. And remember, when drinking wine from a coffee cup, always think about the consequences.